Dr. Amanda Collins wiped sweat from her face as she looked at the strange metal walls. The planet Kepler 442b was hot and dusty, but what she saw made her forget about the heat. These ruins were unlike anything she had ever found before. "Lisa, come look at this," Amanda called to her friend. Commander Lisa Martinez walked over, her boots making soft sounds on the ancient ground. She was the leader of their small team from the research ship New Horizon. "What did you find?" Amanda pointed at symbols carved into the metal wall. "These marks are older than anything we know about. Much older." Kate Williams, their pilot, landed the small shuttle nearby. Dust flew everywhere as the engines shut down. "The scanners are going crazy," she said as she walked toward them. "This place is giving off energy readings I've never seen." Megan Thompson, their communications officer, was already setting up equipment. "I'm getting strange signals from deep underground. Something big is down there." Amanda ran her fingers along the symbols. They felt warm, even in the cool shadow of the ruins. The metal was smooth and perfect, as if it was made yesterday, but her instruments said it was millions of years old. "This doesn't make sense," Amanda said. "These symbols look almost familiar." The four women had been friends for years. They had explored many dead worlds together, looking for signs of ancient life. But this was different. This felt important. "Dr. Collins," Megan called out. "I'm picking up 2 ships coming this way. They're not human." Amanda looked up at the sky. 2 dots were getting bigger. One ship was long and graceful, with white metal that shined in the sunlight. The other was darker, with strange curves that hurt to look at. "Should we call for help?" Kate asked, her hand moving toward her weapon. "Wait," Lisa said. "They're not moving like they want to fight. Maybe they're here for the same reason we are." The white ship landed first. It was beautiful, like something from a dream. A door opened and a woman stepped out. She was tall and thin, with pointed ears and long silver hair. Her skin was pale and perfect. She wore simple clothes that seemed to glow softly. "Greetings," the woman said in perfect English. "I am Silara of the Dominion of Ethermoor. We detected energy readings from this world. We mean no harm." The dark ship landed next. It was harder to look at directly, as if it bent light around itself. The woman who came out was very different. Her skin looked like blue crystal, and her eyes were bright white. When she moved, small lights flickered under her skin. "I am Zixandra of the Nexari Collective," the crystal woman said. Her voice sounded like music. "We have been searching for signs of the first builders for many cycles." Amanda stepped forward. "I'm Dr. Amanda Collins. We're from Earth. We're here to study these ruins." Silara's eyes went wide. "Earth? The humans? But the legends say—" "What legends?" Lisa asked. Zixandra moved closer, her crystal skin changing colors. "Ancient stories, old songs. They speak of those who came before all others, the first builders who made the paths between stars. We call them the Star Makers," Silara added. "My people have searched for proof they existed, but we never found any." Amanda looked back at the metal wall. "These ruins are older than any civilization we know about. Much older." She placed her hand flat against the symbols. Suddenly, the wall began to glow. Lines of light spread out from where she touched, racing along the metal surface. The symbols grew brighter and brighter. "Amazing," Silara whispered. "Impossible," Zixandra said, but her voice was full of wonder. The light reached the top of the wall, and something clicked. A section of the metal slid away, showing a passage that led down into darkness. "It only responded to your touch," Silara said to Amanda. "Not mine, not Zixandra's, only yours." Amanda felt a chill run down her back. "That can't be right." Kate turned on a powerful light and pointed it into the passage. "There are stairs going down. They look like they were made." For people our size, human size, Lisa said quietly. The three women looked at each other. Amanda could see that Solara and Zixandra were thinking the same thing she was. If these ruins only responded to humans, and if they were millions of years old, then what did that mean? We should explore together, Amanda said. If we're going to find answers, we'll find them faster working as a team, Solara nodded. My people value knowledge above all else. I agree. The collective seeks truth, Zixandra said. We will share what we learn. Amanda picked up her equipment pack. Then let's see what's down there. The passage was wide enough for two people to walk side by side. The walls were covered in more symbols, and they began to glow as the humans walked past them. Solara and Zixandra stayed close behind, watching everything with wonder. The symbols are changing, Megan said, checking her scanner. They're getting more complex as we go deeper. They walked for what felt like hours, going deeper and deeper underground. The passage was straight and smooth as if it had been cut by a giant machine. The air was clean and fresh, which was strange for such an old place. Finally, they reached the bottom. The passage opened into a huge room with a high ceiling. The walls were covered in symbols that glowed with soft blue light. In the center of the room stood a tall pillar made of the same strange metal. "Look at the size of this place," Kate whispered. Amanda walked toward the pillar. As she got closer, she could see that it was covered in symbols, too. But these were different, more detailed, more complex. It's some kind of control device, she said. She reached out and touched the pillar. The moment her fingers made contact, the whole room exploded with light. Symbols raced across the walls like living things. The pillar began to hum with power. Then, above their heads, the air itself began to glow. Slowly, a three-dimensional map appeared, floating in the space above them. It showed stars and planets, but not as they were now. This was the galaxy as it had been long, long ago. And scattered across that ancient galaxy were points of light that pulsed with the same rhythm as Amanda's heartbeat. "Colony worlds," Solara breathed. "Someone mapped the entire galaxy and marked places where they lived." "But who?" Zixandra asked. Amanda stared at the map, feeling something deep inside her respond to what she was seeing. The points of light seemed to call to her, as if they were trying to tell her something important. "I think," she said slowly, "we're about to find out." The floating map of the ancient galaxy filled the room with soft light. Amanda could not look away from it. The pulsing points of light seemed to match her heartbeat, and she felt a strange pull toward them. "There are thousands of marked worlds," Lisa said, her voice full of wonder. Solara walked around the room, studying the symbols on the walls. "These markings are not in any language my people know, but they feel familiar somehow." Zixandra's crystal skin was changing colors rapidly, which Amanda had learned meant she was excited. The collective's oldest memories speak of teachers who came from the stars. Could these be the same beings? Amanda moved closer to the pillar. More symbols were appearing on its surface, scrolling upward like text on a screen. "Megan, are you recording all of this?" "Everything," Megan said, holding up her scanner. "But the language, I've never seen anything like it." As Amanda watched the symbols move, something clicked in her mind. The shapes were different, but the way they connected reminded her of something. "Wait," she said. "Kate, do you see that group of symbols there?" Kate looked where Amanda was pointing. "Yeah. What about them?" "They're arranged like English sentence structure. Subject, verb, object. Amy Rodriguez would have been helpful here," Amanda thought. Amy was their language expert, but she was back on the ship studying other artifacts they had found. "That's impossible," Solara said. "These ruins are millions of years old. Human language could not be related to something so ancient." But even as she said it, Amanda could see doubt in the elf's eyes. The evidence was right in front of them. Amanda touched another part of the pillar. Immediately, a new section of the room lit up. A doorway appeared in what had looked like a solid wall. Beyond it, they could see a long corridor lined with tall panels. "More passages," Lisa said. "This place is bigger than we thought." They walked through the new doorway. The panels along the corridor began to glow as they passed. Each panel showed different images, star charts, pictures of worlds, and beings that looked almost human. "Storage devices," Zixandra said. "Like our crystal memory banks, but much more advanced." One panel caught Amanda's attention. It showed a world covered in green forests and blue oceans. In the image, tall beings with human faces were building great cities. But these humans looked different, taller, stronger, with eyes that seemed to glow with inner light. "That world," Solara whispered. "It looks like one of our colony planets. But in our records, my people were the first to settle there." They kept walking, and the images became more disturbing. The panels showed great ships moving between stars. Massive construction projects that changed entire solar systems, and always the tall human-like figures directing everything. At the end of the corridor was another room, even larger than the first. This one was filled with tall crystalline structures that reached from floor to ceiling. Each crystal was as big as a person and glowed with internal light. "Data storage," Amanda said. "These crystals must contain massive amounts of information." She approached the nearest crystal and placed her hand on it. The moment she touched it, the crystal flared with light, and images began appearing in her mind. Not pictures, but memories that felt real. She saw a vast civilization spanning the galaxy. Humans, but not like the humans of Earth. These people had technology beyond anything she could imagine. They traveled between stars like others walked between rooms. They created life on dead worlds and guided the development of countless species. "Amanda!" Lisa's voice seemed to come from far away. "Are you okay?" Amanda blinked and found herself on the floor. Lisa was kneeling beside her, and Solara and Zixandra were looking down with worried expressions. "What did you see?" Zixandra asked. Amanda sat up slowly. "They called themselves the Terran Sovereignty. They were human, but much more advanced than we are now. They spread across the entire galaxy millions of years ago." "That's impossible," Solara said, but her voice was uncertain. "They didn't just explore," Amanda continued. "They created. They seeded worlds with life. They helped primitive species develop intelligence. They built the foundations that all our civilizations are based on." She looked at Solara. "Your people's natural connection to life and growing things, that was their gift to you. They designed your species to be guardians of the worlds they created." Then she looked at Zixandra. "And your collective consciousness, your ability to interface with technology, that came from them too. They taught your people how to think as one while remaining individuals." Zixandra's crystal skin went completely white. "The old songs. They speak of the great teachers who showed us the way to join our minds in harmony." "But what happened to them?" Lisa asked. "If they were so powerful, where did they go?" Amanda touched another crystal. More images flowed into her mind, but these were darker. She saw the ancient humans receiving warnings from the edge of the galaxy. Something was coming, something that consumed entire realities, turning everything into cold emptiness. They called. "It the convergence," Amanda said, her voice barely a whisper. "Entities from outside our reality. Things that fed on the destruction of worlds and civilizations." She saw more. The great human civilization mobilizing for war. Massive fleets of ships heading toward the galactic core. Scientists working desperately on some kind of defense system. "They fought," Amanda said, "but conventional weapons couldn't stop the convergence. So they tried something else." The images showed the human leaders making a terrible choice. They would sacrifice their entire civilization to create a barrier that would protect the galaxy from the invaders. They compressed their whole society into the galactic core. Amanda explained. Billions of people merging their consciousness with the galaxy itself to create an impenetrable shield. But that would mean, Solara began. They all died, Lisa finished. Amanda stood up and looked around the room at all the storage crystals. Not died, transformed. They became the galaxy's immune system, holding back the darkness so that other species could live and grow. Then where did modern humans come from? Zixandra asked. Amanda smiled sadly. They were smart. Before the final battle, they seeded a small group of their people on a distant world, Earth, far from the fighting, where they could survive and eventually rediscover their heritage. We're their children, Lisa said, understanding. All of us are, Amanda said, looking at Solara and Zixandra. They guided the development of every intelligent species in the galaxy. In a way, we're all family. Suddenly, alarms began sounding throughout the complex. The lights changed from blue to red, and the crystals began pulsing rapidly. What's happening? Kate asked, pulling out her weapon. Amanda touched the nearest crystal and gasped. The barrier is weakening. The ancient defense system needs maintenance, but there's been no one to provide it for millions of years. Can it be repaired? Solara asked. Amanda looked at her friends, then at the two alien women who had become allies in their search for truth. Maybe, but it would require human consciousness to interface with the system. The ancient humans designed it to respond only to their mental patterns. Then we have to try, Lisa said. But Amanda was seeing more in the crystal's memories. The repairs would require more than just touching a few controls. They would require a human to merge with the system itself, just like the ancient humans had done. To save the galaxy, someone would have to give up their humanity forever. And outside, at the very edge of their sensors, something dark was beginning to stir. The red alarms kept flashing as Amanda placed her hands on more crystals. Each one showed her new horrors. At the edge of the galaxy, dark spots were appearing where stars used to be. The ancient barrier was failing, and the convergence entities were testing for weak points. How long do we have? Lisa asked. Amanda closed her eyes and let the crystal memories flow through her. Months, maybe less. The barrier has been slowly failing for thousands of years, but the process is speeding up now. We need to contact our governments, Kate said. Earth needs to know about this. And mine as well, Solara added. The Dominion of Ethermore has resources that could help. Zixandra's crystal skin was flashing different colors rapidly. The collective must be informed. Our combined consciousness might be able to assist with the barrier somehow. But Amanda was seeing something else in the crystal memories. Deep beneath them, far below the storage room, was the real heart of the facility, a massive chamber that connected directly to the Galactic Core Defense Network. There's more, she said. Much more. This isn't just a storage facility. It's a control center for the entire defense system. She led them to another hidden door that appeared when she touched a specific symbol. This passage sloped downward, more steeply than the others. As they walked, the walls began to change. The metal became smoother, more organic-looking, as if it was grown rather than built. The temperature is dropping, Megan noted, checking her instruments. After 20 minutes of walking, they reached a massive circular chamber. The walls curved up and up until they disappeared in darkness above. In the center was a raised platform with what looked like a chair, but made of the same living metal as the walls. A command throne, Solara breathed. But Amanda was staring at something else. All around the chamber walls, in alcoves that glowed with soft light, were figures suspended in some kind of energy field. They looked human, but tall and perfect, like the ancient humans in the crystal memories. They're still alive, Amanda whispered. As if responding to her voice, one of the figures opened glowing eyes. It was a woman with long, dark hair and features that seemed almost familiar. She spoke, and somehow Amanda understood the words, even though they were in the ancient language. Guardian, you have returned at last. I'm not a guardian, Amanda said. I'm just an archaeologist. The ancient woman smiled sadly. You are human. That makes you a guardian, whether you accept it or not. I am Terra Prime, the last conscious representative of the Terran sovereignty. You've been here for millions of years. Time moves differently when you are part of the defense network. We have been dreaming, holding back the darkness while we waited for our people to return. Lisa stepped forward. What happened to Earth? To the humans who were sent away? Terra Prime's expression grew sad. We lost contact long ago. We hoped you would develop naturally, rediscover technology, and eventually find your way back to us. It seems our plan worked, though later than we hoped. The barrier is failing, Amanda said. We can see the dark spots at the galaxy's edge. Yes, we grow weak. We have held the line for so long, but our numbers decrease. Some of us have faded into the network completely. Others have simply stopped. Zixandra moved closer to the platform. Could our species help? The collective has experience with shared consciousness. And my people understand life energy, Solara added. Perhaps we could strengthen you somehow. Terra Prime looked at them with interest. You are the children we helped create. The elves with their connection to life, the Nexari with their networked minds. You have grown beyond what we imagined. But can you help us stop the convergence? Amanda asked. Terra Prime gestured toward the command throne. The system was designed to be controlled by human consciousness. It requires the specific patterns of thought that only our species possesses. Creativity, adaptability, the ability to hold contradictory ideas at the same time. So one of us has to take your place? Not take our place. Join us. The system can accommodate new guardians, but they must merge permanently with the network. They become part of the galaxy's defense, but they lose their individual existence. Amanda felt a chill. That's what happened to all of you. You gave up your lives to become the barrier. We gave up our individual lives to preserve all life, Terra Prime corrected. It was not an easy choice, but it was necessary. Suddenly the chamber shook. Dust fell from the ceiling and the lights flickered. What was that? Kate asked, grabbing for her weapon. Terra Prime's face grew grim. They are testing the barrier more aggressively. Time grows short. Amanda looked at her friends. Lisa's face was determined, the expression she wore when facing a difficult mission. Kate looked ready to fight anything. Megan was still recording. Everything, determined to document whatever happened. There has to be another way, Amanda said. Some option that doesn't require someone to sacrifice themselves. Perhaps, Terra Prime said slowly. The system was designed when only humans existed in this galaxy, but now there are others. If representatives of multiple species work together— What do you mean? Solara asked. The barrier requires certain types of consciousness to function. Humans provide creativity and adaptability, but perhaps elven life force manipulation could strengthen the system, while Nexari collective processing could help distribute the load. A hybrid approach, Zixandra said, her skin brightening with excitement. Instead of one species carrying the entire burden, multiple species sharing it. It has never been tried, Terra Prime warned. The risks are unknown. Another shake ran. Through the chamber, stronger this time. In the distance, Amanda could hear a sound like thunder, but it seemed to come from the direction of space. They're not just testing anymore, Terra Prime said urgently. They're attacking directly. The barrier is failing faster than we calculated. Amanda looked around the chamber at all the sleeping guardians. These people had given up everything. To protect the galaxy, now it was her turn to make a choice. If we try this hybrid approach, what would we need to do? Volunteers from each species would need to link with the system. They would retain more of their individual consciousness than we did, but they would still be changed forever. They would become something new, part human, part elf, part Nexari, part Galactic Defense Network. I'll do it, Amanda said immediately. And I, Solara added. The collective chooses me as their representative, Zixandra said. Wait, Lisa said. Are you sure about this? Once you link with the system, you can't come back. Amanda smiled at her oldest friend. Someone has to, and maybe this way we can find a better solution than the one our ancestors chose. Terra Prime moved toward the command throne. If you are certain, then we must begin immediately. The convergence forces are breaking through in several sectors. As if to emphasize her words, the chamber shook again. This time, the lights went out completely for several seconds before emergency power kicked in. They're through, Terra Prime said quietly. The first breach has been made. Amanda took a deep breath and walked toward the throne. Then let's finish what our ancestors started. Amanda stopped just before reaching the command throne. The weight of what she was about to do hit her all at once. If she sat in that chair, she would never be the same person again. She would become something else, part of a vast network that protected the entire galaxy. Wait, Megan said suddenly. Our communications are working again. I'm getting signals from the New Horizon. Put them through, Lisa ordered. The voice of Captain Nicole Stevens crackled through the comm system. Collins, what's your status? We've been trying to reach you for hours. Captain, Amanda replied, we've found something incredible down here, but we have a situation. I'm reading massive energy signatures from your location. I'm bringing the ship down with a full team. No, Amanda said quickly. It's not safe. The facility is responding to human presence. More people might trigger something we can't control. But it was too late. Through the crystal memories, Amanda could sense the New Horizon approaching the planet's surface. As the ship got closer, more of the ancient systems began activating. Weapons that had been sleeping for millions of years started warming up. Defensive shields that could protect entire solar systems flickered to life. The ship is waking up the facility's military systems, Terra Prime said with concern. If too many humans arrive at once, the automatic defenses might activate fully. What would that mean? Solara asked. This facility was designed to be a command center for galactic defense. If it thinks the galaxy is under attack, it will begin preparing for total war. The chamber shook again, but this time it felt different. Not from external attack, but from systems powering up below them. Captain Stevens, Amanda called into her comm. You need to keep most of your people on the ship. Send down only a small team. Negative, Collins. I'm reading signs of structural instability. We're coming to extract you. You don't understand, Amanda said desperately. This place responds to human minds. Too many of us here at once could be dangerous. An hour later, Captain Stevens arrived with Dr. Susan Clark, the ship's physicist, and Major Rachel King, a Special Forces officer. As soon as they entered the chamber, more of the sleeping Guardians began stirring. The walls started, displaying star charts showing current galactic conditions. My God, Dr. Clark whispered, staring at the ancient humans in their energy fields. What is this place? Amanda quickly explained everything they had learned. Captain Stevens listened with growing amazement and horror. So you're telling me that humans built a galactic empire millions of years ago and they're still fighting some kind of cosmic war? Not fighting, Terra Prime corrected, holding the line. But our strength fades, and the enemy grows bolder. Dr. Clark was studying the command throne with her instruments. The technology here is beyond anything I've ever seen. The energy readings are off the charts. It's connected to the galactic core, Amanda explained. The whole system runs on consciousness. Human consciousness, specifically. Major King was more practical. What are our options? Can this threat be stopped? We believe so, Zixandra said. But it requires representatives from our 3 species to link with the defense network. Permanently, Solara added. We would become part of the system. Captain Stevens looked horrified. There has to be another way. We can't ask people to sacrifice their humanity. It's not exactly sacrifice, Terra Prime said. More like evolution. You would become something greater than what you are now. But Amanda was beginning to have doubts. In the crystal memories, she could see what had happened to the original Guardians. Over millions of years, they had gradually lost more and more of their individual selves. They were still conscious, but they thought more like parts of a machine than like people. What if we're wrong? She asked Terra Prime. What if linking our consciousness with the system doesn't work? Then the galaxy dies, Terra Prime said simply. The convergence entities will consume everything and all life will end. Dr. Clark looked up from her instruments. I'm detecting massive energy buildups throughout the facility. Something big is happening. The arrival of more humans is triggering deeper response protocols, Terra Prime explained. The facility is preparing for full activation. Suddenly, holographic displays appeared throughout the chamber. They showed the galaxy in real time, with red warning indicators at dozens of locations along the outer edge. The dark spots were growing larger. They're not just testing anymore, Major King observed. This looks like a full invasion. The barrier is failing faster than we thought, Terra Prime said urgently. We have perhaps days before they break through completely. Amanda stared at the displays. In some areas, entire star systems were going dark. Whatever the convergence entities were, they were destroying everything in their path. How many people would die if we do nothing? She asked. Everyone, Terra Prime said quietly. Every living being in the galaxy. Captain Stevens was studying the tactical displays. Our entire civilization, everything we've built, everyone we've ever known. And not just humans, Solara added. My people, Zixandra's collective, all the other species we haven't even met yet. Amanda looked around the chamber at her friends and colleagues. Lisa was watching her with the trust of someone who had followed her on dozens of dangerous expeditions. Kate was ready to support whatever decision she made. Megan was still recording, making sure their discoveries wouldn't be lost. Dr. Clark and Major King represented Earth itself, science and military, the two sides of human nature that had brought them to the stars. Captain Stevens carried the responsibility of command, the weight of making decisions that affected other people's lives. If we volunteer for this, Amanda said slowly, we need to understand exactly what we're agreeing to. You would join the network gradually, Terra Prime explained. First, just linking your consciousness with the system. You would still be yourselves, but with access to galactic-level awareness. Over time, as you became more comfortable with the connection, you could integrate more deeply. And if we decide we don't like it? Terra Prime hesitated. The deeper the integration, the harder it becomes to separate. Eventually, the connection becomes permanent. But we would still be us? Solara asked. A version of you, changed, expanded, but still fundamentally who you are. The chamber shook, again, more violently this time. One of the holographic displays showed a star system simply vanishing, consumed by spreading darkness. We're out of time, Terra Prime said urgently. The convergence forces have broken through in 3 sectors. If we don't act now, they'll establish permanent footholds in our reality. Amanda looked at Solara and Zixandra. The elf woman nodded firmly, her silver hair catching the light from the displays. The crystal woman's skin was a steady blue color, the Nexari equivalent of determination. We're ready, Amanda said. No, Captain Stevens said firmly. I can't authorize this. The risk is too great. With respect, Captain, Amanda replied, this isn't your decision to make. We're volunteers. She walked toward the command throne, but stopped when she heard Lisa call her name. Amanda, wait. If you do this, will we ever see you again? Amanda smiled at her best friend. I don't know. But if we don't do this, there won't be anyone left to see. She sat down in the command throne and immediately felt the connection beginning to form. The metal seemed to flow around her, not trapping her but welcoming her. She could sense Terra Prime and the other Guardians in the network, and beyond them, the vast structure of the galactic defense system. But she could also sense something else, a growing darkness at the edge of everything, hungry and cold and completely hostile to all life. The convergence was coming, and they were almost out of time. As Amanda connected with the command throne, her awareness exploded outward. She could suddenly sense the entire galaxy, every star, every planet, every living being. The feeling was overwhelming at first, like trying to drink from a waterfall. But then Terra Prime's consciousness touched hers, helping her focus. "Easy," the ancient guardian said. "Let the connection grow slowly." Through the network, Amanda could see the true scope of the crisis. Dark tendrils were reaching into their reality from something that existed outside normal space and time. Wherever the convergence entities touched, matter simply stopped existing. Not destroyed, just gone, as if it had never been. "I can see them," Amanda said, her voice echoing strangely in the chamber. "They're not just destroying things, they're unmaking them." Solara approached a second throne that had risen from the floor. "I'm ready to join you." "As am I," Zixandra said, moving toward a third throne. But as Solara sat down, something unexpected happened. Instead of connecting to the human-designed system, her consciousness began creating something new. Her connection to life force, enhanced by the ancient modifications the Terran sovereignty had made to her species, started building bridges between the existing network and the living systems of the galaxy itself. "Incredible," Terra Prime breathed. "She's not just joining the network, she's expanding it." When Zixandra connected, the effect was even more dramatic. Her collective consciousness abilities allowed her to process the massive data flows of the defense system without being overwhelmed. More importantly, she began creating backup pathways, redundancies that would prevent the network from failing if individual guardians were lost. "It's working," Amanda said, watching as the three consciousness types began weaving together. "We're creating something new." Dr. Clark was monitoring everything with her instruments. "The energy patterns are completely different from what the ancient system used, more efficient, more stable." Through the expanded network, Amanda could sense other guardians across the galaxy beginning to stir. The ancient humans who had been slowly fading were suddenly rejuvenated by the new connections. Instead of carrying the burden alone, they were now part of a true collective effort. "The barrier is strengthening," Terra Prime announced with wonder. "For the first time in millions of years, it's actually getting stronger instead of weaker." But the convergence entities weren't giving up. Sensing the change in the defense system, they began a massive assault on the weakest points in the barrier. Amanda could feel them pressing against the galactic edge like a tide of nothingness. "They're adapting," she warned. "They know we're doing something different." "Then we need to do more," Solara said. Her consciousness was spreading through the life-bearing worlds of the galaxy, connecting with every living thing. Plants, animals, even microbes were becoming part of the defense network. "The entire galaxy is awakening," Zixandra observed. Her collective processing was linking not just conscious minds, but the quantum fields that held matter together. The galaxy itself was becoming a single, unified organism. Through her expanded awareness, Amanda could sense the reactions of people across the galaxy as the truth began to spread. On Earth, scientists were detecting massive energy changes. In the HFY, dominion of Ethermore, elves were feeling a new connection to forces they had never imagined. The Nixari collective was experiencing thoughts and memories that stretched back millions of years. "Everyone will know," Amanda realized. "The whole galaxy will understand what happened, what we're doing." "Good," Terra Prime said. "This should not be a secret anymore. Every species deserves to know their true history." Captain Stevens was listening to communications from the New Horizon. "I'm getting reports from Earth Command. Similar energy signatures are being detected at archaeological sites across human space. Other ruins are activating." "Backup facilities," Terra Prime explained. The Terran sovereignty built redundant systems across the galaxy. They're all coming online now. But the most important change was happening right in their chamber. Amanda, Solara, and Zixandra were no longer three separate beings connecting to an ancient system. They were becoming something entirely new, a hybrid consciousness that combined the best aspects of all three species. Amanda retained her human creativity and adaptability, but now she could feel the life force of every living thing in the galaxy. Through Solara's connection, through Zixandra, she could process information from billions of sources simultaneously without losing her sense of self. "We're still us," she said with wonder, "but we're also more. The network isn't controlling us," Solara added. "We're guiding it." "A true partnership," Zixandra observed. "Not sacrifice, but evolution." The assault from the convergence entities intensified, but now the galaxy was ready for them. Instead of a barrier maintained by ancient, fading guardians, they faced a living defense system that grew stronger with every passing moment. "They're retreating," Terra Prime announced with amazement. "For the first time in millions of years, they're actually pulling back." Through the network, Amanda could sense the dark entities withdrawing to the space between galaxies. They weren't destroyed, that might not even be possible, but they were blocked from entering their reality. "How long will the barrier hold now?" Dr. Clark asked. "Indefinitely," Amanda replied. "The new system is self-maintaining and self-improving. It will actually get stronger over time." But the most important change was just beginning. Across the galaxy, representatives of different species were volunteering to join the network, not out of desperation like the original Guardians, but out of a desire to be part of something greater. "We're not just defending the galaxy anymore," Solara said. "We're uniting it. All species working together," Zixandra added. "Sharing knowledge, sharing strength." Through the network, Amanda could see new expeditions being planned. Ships from Earth, the Dominion of Ethermore, and the Nexari Collective working together to explore beyond their galaxy. The barrier that protected them could also serve as a launching point for journeys to other realities. "The ancient humans gave up their individual existence to save the galaxy," Amanda said. "But we found a better way." She could still see her friends in the chamber below. Lisa was crying, but she was also smiling. Kate and Megan were already planning how to share the story with Earth. Captain Stevens was talking to his crew about the new era they were entering. "Will you stay connected permanently?" Lisa asked. Amanda considered the question. Through the network, she could feel the vast responsibility of protecting trillions of lives, but she could also feel the joy of discovery, the excitement of exploration, and the deep satisfaction of bringing different species together. "I think so," she said, "but not trapped here. The network is mobile now. We can explore, learn, grow. And visit old friends," Solara added, with a smile that somehow carried through. "The connection. The galaxy is safe," Zixandra announced to the chamber. "But more than that, it's united." Terra Prime's ancient consciousness touched Amanda's one last time. "You have done something we never imagined possible. You turned our sacrifice into a celebration." "Your sacrifice made it possible," Amanda replied. "You held the line long enough for us to find a better way." As the new network settled into its permanent configuration, Amanda felt a deep sense of completion. The galaxy was safe, but more than that, it was whole. Every species, every world, every living thing was connected in a vast web of mutual support and protection. The age of the ancient human guardians was over. The age of the united galaxy had begun. And in the depths of space, new ships were already launching toward distant stars, carrying crews from dozens of species working together to explore the infinite possibilities that lay ahead. The truth was, finally known, humanity had been here first, but they had used that advantage not to rule, but to serve. And now, All their children were following that same path toward a future none of them could have imagined alone. The galaxy was no longer just surviving. It was thriving, and the best was yet to come.